Did you know that there are people who arrive at the airport on time, with all their documentation up to date, and still fail to get on the plane? Even though they have already paid their fare and have their document in hand, they are detained. Have you ever imagined having to pay just to use the counter, to print your ticket, or to carry that same old suitcase that now turns out to be prohibited? Well, this is already happening. In 2025, the rules at airports have changed quietly, and quite harshly. The most worrying thing is that no one warns you in time. When you realize it, it's already too late. In this video I am going to reveal to you 7 new regulations that are taking thousands of travelers by surprise. You will understand why boarding pass is disappearing, what happens if you try to use your phone, and why now your face is your new passage. We will also talk about hidden charges, of the new requirement to check in up to 72 hours before, and a change that is leaving passengers without a seat even if they have paid for their flight. These are not exaggerations, it is the new travel model, more digital, more monitored, and sadly, less human. But stay until the end, because what I'm going to tell you could help you avoid losing time, money, or even your flight. Imagine this scene: you arrive at the airport, you look for the check-in line, you prepare your passport, your printed ticket, even the confirmation email on your cell phone, and suddenly someone says to you, "Sir, ma'am, there's no need for any of that anymore." And it's not a joke. In 2025, airports have begun a silent transformation that is already shaping up to be one of the greatest revolutions in the history of air transport in recent decades. Little by little, they are eliminating what we have used all our lives: the boarding pass, check-in at the counter, and even the physical passport. Everything is now managed from your cell phone. You literally have to download a digital biometric passport. This virtual document integrates your passport, your ticket, and your personal data, all in one place, and automatically connects to the airport system. But here comes the detail that many do not know. If this digital system is not working properly, simply you can't get on the plane. It doesn't matter if you have a printed ticket or a traditional passport. In some airports, like in Dubai, they don't even ask you to show anything anymore. They look at you, and that's enough. Your face is your entry pass. Now think about it: what if your phone breaks or the battery runs out? What about those who do not feel comfortable using technology? They say that all this simplifies the process, but, for whom really? What some call comfort, in practice can exclude many people, especially to those who are used to the usual methods. And there is still more. Do you feel calm knowing that now your cell phone is your identity document for traveling? Just one bug in the app, or a failed update, could mean you won't get on the plane. It's a rule that seems harmless, but in reality changes everything. In the next point you will discover what happens when you go through the security check without showing your passport or scanning your ticket, only with your face. So let's imagine together. You enter the airport. You do not need to present your boarding pass or show your passport. You have your cell phone stored in your pocket and your biometric digital passport is already active. And now comes the most delicate part: security check and boarding the plane. Do you know what they do? They look at you. A camera captures your face, identifies it in a matter of seconds, and allows you passage. There is no code scanning, you do not have to present any documents. You don't even need to take your cell phone out of your pocket. Yes, it looks comfortable, doesn't it? But let's think for a second. This means that your face replaced your ticket. And here comes the second key point: facial recognition is no longer optional. It's not a pilot test, it's not something you can choose. It's the new standard. They say that the image of your face is deleted 15 seconds after being scanned. But who guarantees that? Do you really think that a camera connected to global systems, linked to immigration databases and airlines, will simply forget you? And what no one answers is the most disturbing. Who has access to that information? Is it the airport? The airline? The government? Or some private company? And even more so, can they sell that data? Could they be filtered? Use it for purposes we don't even imagine? We have already seen cases of people whose bank accounts were emptied, their digital identity stolen, or their entire profiles cloned. Now imagine that someone uses your face to board a flight in another country. Or that the system makes a mistake and says that you are not you. What happens at that moment? They sell this system to us as something modern, effective and reliable. But when it fails, and sooner or later it fails, who gives you a solution? Are they going to help you, or are you going to be stranded in front of a machine that simply tells you, access denied? This is already starting to happen. And it doesn't end here, because the next point is just as alarming. Now the cell phone, it is no longer an accessory, has been transformed into an essential requirement to fly. Without battery, without internet, or without knowing how to use the app, don't get on the plane. Do you want to know how this works in practice? Look at this situation. You arrive at the airport. Everything in order, suitcase ready, documentation up to date. But you realize that your cell phone has very low battery, or worse yet, you have no connection. And here comes the blow of reality. If your phone doesn't work, you can't board. Yes, that's simple. In 2025, the mobile phone will no longer be a simple device and will become your new access key. It is not enough to have it, it has to be turned on, with the correct application installed, access to the internet and working perfectly. Because now, to board, you need to show your digital biometric passport, which lives inside the phone. Without him, you can't move forward in the flight process. And then the questions arise. What happens if the cell phone turns off? What happens if the app crashes? What if you don't know how to use it? Perhaps for younger people, who were born in the digital age, it is something natural. But what about those who did not grow up with a cell phone in their hand? And the most serious thing, in several airports, there is no longer any staff at the counters to help you if this happens. If your cell phone does not respond, many passengers have heard the same phrase. We are sorry, but without the app it cannot be addressed. This is not theory. It's happening right now. Many people, they only find out about all this when they are already at the airport, with the flight paid and confirmed. And the problem is not just the technology itself. The really serious thing is the lack of human alternatives. Because not offering an option with in-person assistance, a person to help you, is what makes this novelty a real obstacle, especially for people over 50, 60, or 70 years old. People who do not use applications, who do not know how to navigate between digital menus, or who simply prefers to talk to a human being. Today they are transforming the cell phone into a mandatory digital passport. But is everyone really ready for this? And now I'm going to tell you something that seems even more absurd. There are passengers arriving at the boarding gate thinking that everything is in order. And only there they discover that they don't even have an assigned seat. Do you want to know how that can happen? I'll explain it to you. Imagine this scene. You bought the ticket, you arrived on time, you went through the checkpoint, you scanned your face, the cell phone worked perfectly. And just when you arrive at the boarding gate, they tell you, you don't have a seat. Yes, you read correctly, no seat. And it's not a mistake. It is a practice that more and more airlines are adopting. Now, if you don't pay for a seat when you buy the ticket, they simply won't assign you one. They don't give you any, not even at random. You only find out when the flight is about to leave. Before, even with the most basic fares, you got a random seat. Now, that it is no longer a guarantee of anything. You have to enter the app, choose your place and pay for it. If you don't, it's likely that you'll end up on a kind of waiting list, waiting for someone to miss out or for seats to become vacant. And the most serious thing is that many times no one tells you clearly. You receive confirmation of the purchase, you think everything is ready. But if you didn't enter the app and you did not select your place, paying, you can stay outside. Can you imagine a 68-year-old woman, traveling alone, arriving at the boarding gate and hearing, you don't have a reserved seat. We must see if there are any available. Or a couple who bought tickets together but end up sitting in different rows because they didn't pay the extra to choose adjacent seats. It's already happening. It's like they dismantled everything that was once a staple of a trip. Before, when purchasing a ticket, your place was assured. Now if you're not paying attention, you can stay outside even with the paid ticket. And as if that were not enough, in the next point it appears another silent trap. A new rule that very few know. Now, check-in for international flights must be done up to 72 hours before the flight. If you don't do it on time, you can lose your place. Do you want to know how this is taking many people by surprise? I'll tell you now. Hold this image for a moment. You bought your ticket. You are excited about the trip. You even packed your suitcase ahead of time, carefully. And then, you commit a simple error. You do not register 72 hours in advance. And that's why, you missed the flight. Yes. Just as you hear it. In 2025, some countries, like Mexico, for example, began to require international check-in to take place up to 3 days before the flight. And if you don't do it within that period, although you have paid everything, even if you have the ticket in your hand, they can deny you boarding. And you know what the worst is? This does not appear in large letters. It doesn't come in red, it doesn't flash saying, "If you don't do this, you will miss your flight." No. Most finds out at the moment. When it's too late. Before you could check in 24 hours in advance, even at the airport, at the counter. But that option is disappearing. The airlines want everything is done online, in advance, from the cell phone, within your system. And if you wait to do it on the day of the flight, forget it. Now think about the older people. In those who they are not familiar with these new digital rules. In those who still believe that it is enough arrive early at the airport and present your passport. Those are the people most affected. Why no one noticed them clearly? And when they find out, it is with that phrase that no one wants to listen. The system has already closed. It is no longer possible to board. It's not an oversight. It's not a delay. Is a new, little-known norm. And those who don't adapt quickly, they end up being penalized. And now comes another silent knock. The new restrictions on hand luggage. Because in 2025, if your suitcase measures 2 centimeters more, weighs it 1 kilogram more, you may end up paying, very expensive. Right there, at the boarding gate. Do you want to know what's behind this? I'll explain it to you now. Let's talk about hand luggage. That suitcase that you carried for years without problems. No extra cost, no headaches. Today, in 2025, became a problem. Because the airlines are reducing permitted sizes. And strengthening controls such as never before. Currently, in many companies, the maximum size allowed is 55 centimeters high, 35 centimeters wide, 25 centimeters deep. And the weight varies between 7 and 10 kilograms, depending on the company. But here comes the most insidious. They are not flexible. If the handle sticks out 1 centimeter, if the weight passes 200 grams, they can charge directly there, at the door. And do you know how much? In some cases, up to $100 for checking a suitcase. That 2 years ago you had free. And that's not all. Some airlines are already limiting carry-on luggage to 1 small piece. Like a backpack that fits under the seat. In other words, if you carry a suitcase with wheels and a shoulder bag, you can't anymore. Or you will pay an extra fee. Or do you have to leave one of the two? And now comes the most wicked. Many people pass the scanner without problem. But when they get to the door, an employee appears with the famous iron meter. And he makes you put your suitcase there. If it doesn't fit perfectly, even if it's because of the wheels or the closure, they charge you. And all this, when the flight is about to close. No time to argue, no room to resolve. And many people, especially older adults or people tired of traveling. They pay without question, just for not miss the flight. Now tell me. Is this security? Or is it simply a new way to get money from the passenger? And it doesn't stop there. In the next point we are going to talk about something that bothers even more than missing a flight. Hidden fees. Yeah. Those charges that do not appear in the price of the ticket. But they appear later. Silent. Surprising. Do you want to reschedule your flight? Do you want a real person to serve you? Do you want to print your boarding pass? They charge you. Do you want to see how they are charging you for things that were previously basic? Come with me. I'll show you now. Let's talk about what is most disgusting. To those who have always been correct, faithful passengers, who follow the rules. The hidden fees. Because in 2025, flying is no longer just about traveling. It's playing a cheating game where the rules change at every step. You buy the ticket thinking you got a good deal. But the final price ends up being double, or even triple. Because now, they charge you for everything. And when I say everything, it is everything. Do you need to reschedule your flight more than 48 hours in advance? Even if it is due to a family or health emergency. Some airlines will stick you with $150. Yes, even if your flight cost less than that. The app crashed and you want to talk to a real person at the airport. In some airports in the US and Mexico they already charge you up to $20. Just for printing the boarding pass. And be careful with changing the date or time of the flight. Because there are companies that say, verbatim in their contract. If you don't reschedule within the exact deadline that they impose on you, you lose the entire ticket. No refund. No credit. They take it away from you. So. And who are the most harmed by this? Yeah. Once again, older adults. Those who prefer to solve things calmly. Talk to someone, confirm everything in person. These people are being left aside. In the name of supposed digital efficiency. Efficiency for whom? For the airline, which saves on personnel. But not for you, who pay more. You have less support. And on top of that you can be fined for details that were not a problem before. And now that you saw all this, I answered honestly. Do you really feel like you are in control of your own journey? Because these new rules are not just technical changes. They are changing the experience of flying. And for many people, they are taking away the pleasure, and the right, to travel with dignity. If you went through any of these situations, or do you know someone who has experienced them? Tell it in the comments. Your experience can help many. Not to fall into the same traps. And if this video alerted you, opened your eyes, or it just made you think differently, subscribe to the channel now. Because here, we tell you the truth about airports, travel, and all that no one explains to you. But you need to know. Especially if you are already over 40 years old. Because here, information is your safest ticket. See you in the next video. Hello, world travelers. Welcome back to Travel Vibes, your reliable space where we share the best tricks to fly calmly and without setbacks. Whether you're planning your first international adventure as a student, living the nomadic lifestyle with just a backpack, or you're an experienced globetrotter checking another destination off your dream list, we all want the same thing, for the trip to be as seamless as possible. But tell me something, have you ever seen your carry-on luggage disappear down the boarding carousel just before you remembered your medications were there? The crew smiles kindly, the line moves forward, but the alarm begins to go off in your head. What if I need them mid-flight? What if that suitcase never shows up again? Don't worry, you're not the only one. In today's video we are going to explore everything you need to know to pack your medications correctly in 2025. And if what we share helps you, don't forget to subscribe, Every week we bring practical tips and advice so that you can travel better with the help of experts, here at Travel Vibes. Does the TSA really care about your medications? Well, now that we've all identified that little moment of panic, let's put things on the table. The TSA is not there to take away your medications. In reality, they usually act with a lot of common sense, as long as you know how to handle their rules. Here's the important thing: if your medications are approved by the FDA, whether pills, creams, liquids or injectables, you can take them with you without a problem. The amount needed for your entire trip is allowed. This includes everything from insulin pens, eye drops, dermatological creams, to gels or ice packs if they need to be kept refrigerated. And yes, all of that applies. Also be aware of over-the-counter medications, such as pain relievers, antihistamines, saline solutions, and other essentials that many travelers in the U.S., especially older people with chronic illnesses or young people undergoing treatment for ADHD or anxiety, frequently carry with them. But this is where problems can appear. If you carry your medications unlabeled, loose or poorly distributed between different bags, the controls will most likely be delayed. And that is exactly what we are going to see below: the 3 most common mistakes when traveling with medications that complicate the travel of thousands of people every day. The TSA is not the villain of this story, but the truth is that they can become a headache if you don't pack your luggage well. Many travelers, whether they're flying for the first time or fly all the time but rush to pack at the last minute, repeat the same 3 mistakes over and over again. I'm telling you because I see it all the time. Multitasking mothers trying to coordinate snacks with prescriptions. Young professionals on their way to conferences with their pills in the wrong bag. And even retirees heading for a cruise who completely forget about their cardiac medications until it is too late. Mistake number 1. Putting your medications in the carry-on suitcase with wheels may seem like a safe move, right? But be careful with this. More and more airlines are asking that this type of luggage be checked at the gate just before boarding the plane. What does that mean? That if your medications are there, they can be out of reach until you land and retrieve your suitcase on the conveyor belt. If everything goes well, great, but if not, it's a problem. Mistake number 2. Mix your remedies with personal hygiene items. The cream, shampoo, and toothpaste go in the 311 type liquid bag, as dictated by the TSA. But your medications should go separately, in their own transparent bag. Because this way you prevent agents from wasting time searching through your things or questioning whether that little bottle is eye drops or something more delicate. Mistake number 3. Carrying pills without labels, without a prescription on hand, without any proof of what is what. Technically you can use a pill box, but if you have controlled medications such as Adderall, anxiolytics, or sleeping pills, it is ideal that they go in their original container. You can take a photo of the label just in case, and better yet, bring a note from the doctor. A few minutes of preparation before traveling can save you hours of stress at security checkpoints. Now yes, let's put together a travel kit accordingly. You already know what not to do. Now let's get down to what's important: how to put together an ideal travel kit for 2025. This isn't just for people with complex medical treatments. It doesn't matter if you're a college student on anxiety medication, a dad who carries an EpiPen just in case, or a retiree managing his diabetes. This little bag can make a big difference. Start with a clear plastic bag with a closure, Ziploc type or similar, travel toiletry size. This first aid kit should go in your personal item, the one you keep under the seat in front of you. Inside, place the original bottles of your medications. Your pill box, if you use it. A printed list indicating what you take, how often, and in what dosage. A doctor's note, as a precaution. A digital copy of that information on your cell phone. If any of your medications need to be kept cold, include frozen gel packs, that are solid at the time of checkup. Don't forget important devices like inhalers, insulin pens, or CPAP parts. And a final piece of advice, always carry extra doses to cover between 5 and 7 more days. You never know when there may be delays or unforeseen events, especially on flights within the United States. In the next segment, I show you how to get through TSA screening quickly and hassle-free using this kit. 4. How to get through TSA with medications without stress or delays. You have your first aid kit prepared, now comes the critical part, the security check at the airport. It doesn't matter if it's your first flight to college, if you travel often for work, or you're simply going to visit your family, what you do in those minutes in front of the TSA can totally change your experience. The key is in the attitude, approach with confidence and transparency. The agents are not there to give you a hard time, but to make sure everything is in order. Before you put your bag on the treadmill, say something simple like, "I have liquids and medical devices in this bag." Then, take out your first aid kit and your 311 bag of liquids, and put them on a separate tray. Don't hide anything or try to minimize what you carry. That only lengthens the process and may raise more questions. Do you use a pacemaker, insulin pump or other medical device? Inform him at the beginning. Most agents are understanding, but they have to follow specific protocols. If something raises doubts, keep calm, politely ask to speak to a supervisor and show your prescription, doctor's note or cell phone records. Remember, you have the right to travel with everything that is medically necessary. Knowing it gives you security and power. 5. Go digital, the secret advantage for traveling in 2025. If you're like many travelers today, practical, time poor, and very digital, this tip can make your entire trip flow much better, especially if you go abroad. Before each international flight, download the My TSA app. It's free, fast, and allows you to check if that weird patch, cream, or gel you're using is allowed. Visit the official TSA website and its section, "Can I wear this?" It is ideal for those dubious products such as cooling gels, hormonal patches or therapeutic sprays. Do you have a last-minute question? I private messaged the TSA on Twitter or Facebook. They respond super fast, sometimes in minutes. But here comes the game changer. Install an eSIM, digital SIM card, before leaving the country. That gives you instant mobile data you barely land. If foreign customs questions any of your medications, don't panic. You search for the name of the drug on Google, show the doctor's note in another language or even call your doctor directly. Zero stress. Zero surprises. Maximum preparation. 6. Medications that can cause problems, even if they are legal in your country. This is the awkward but crucial moment. Because not all medications that are legal in your state or country are safe to fly, much less to enter another. First example, marijuana. Even if you have a prescription and it is completely legal where you live, do not take it on a plane. The TSA responds to federal laws, and at the federal level in the U.S., marijuana is still classified as a Schedule I drug. This includes flower, edibles, and yes, vaporizers too. None of this is allowed, neither in hand luggage nor in checked luggage. Second point, CBD oil. You see it everywhere, pharmacies, supermarkets, gas stations, but there is a catch. If the product contains more than 0.3% THC, it is illegal under federal law. And yes, security agents can check that. Many times they come disguised as relaxing drops or natural oils, but if you don't know exactly what the product has, it is better to leave it out of your bag. Quick summary. If you are not 100% sure of the ingredients, if you do not have clear documentation, don't take it. And now comes something even more delicate. 7. Why some drugs are okay in the US, but illegal abroad. Do you think the TSA rules are confusing? Wait until you cross a border. As soon as you leave the US, laws change dramatically, and a common medication can become a serious legal problem. Real examples that surprised many travelers. Japan bans anything containing pseudoephedrine, such as Sudafed decongestants. Singapore, even one Ambien pill or anything with codeine can lead to significant fines or legal problems. United Arab Emirates, ADHD medications like Adderall are considered narcotics. Thailand, common anti-anxiety medications require prior government approval before landing. And be careful, it is not necessary to enter the country. Making a stopover or transiting through the airport may already be a reason for inspection. What can you do to avoid problems? Visit the website of the embassy or consulate of the country you are going to visit, or where you are stopping over. I translated your medication list, if necessary. Ask your doctor for a brief letter explaining each medication and its use. Bring your digitalized documentation, on your cell phone or in the cloud, ready to show. Being proactive isn't just smart. It can literally save your trip. Personalized help for those traveling with medications. Do you feel nervous or insecure when traveling with medications? There is a free service in the US that you may not have known about, and it can completely change your experience at the airport. It's called TSA Cares. This program is designed especially for those who need a little extra support when going through security checks. Not everyone feels comfortable going through airport checkpoints, and that's completely understandable, especially if you're carrying medical supplies, using special devices, or simply feeling overwhelmed. Maybe you are an older person who needs more time to move around, a parent traveling alone with a child with special needs, or someone who experiences anxiety in crowded places. For all those cases, TSA Cares is there. The process is simple, you just have to contact them at least 72 hours before your flight, by phone or email, and explain what kind of help you might need. It could be assistance moving around, more time to get organized, or someone to help you explain your medications to officers. From that contact, you are assigned to a passenger support specialist who accompanies you during the screening process, calmly explaining everything to you and, if necessary, speaking directly with security personnel on your behalf. The best thing is that you do not need to present a medical certificate or have an obvious disability. You just need to ask for help. It doesn't matter if you are 27 or 77 years old. If you have ever thought, I wish someone could give me a hand with this, now you know that it is possible. What if things don't go as you expected? The truth is that, no matter how planned everything is, unforeseen events can always arise. From executives traveling on business to grandparents visiting their grandchildren, anyone can face unexpected situations on a trip. Imagine that a TSA agent is in a hurry and searches your bag even though it is clearly labeled. Or that the ice in your cooler melts and the medications look suspicious. Or maybe your itinerary, which seemed perfect, suddenly falls apart. What can you do in those moments? Situation 1, the TSA tells you that you cannot carry your medications. First, stay calm. This is not the time to argue. I politely ask to speak to a supervisor. Show a doctor's note, printed prescription, or open the My TSA app or the official Can I Bring to support your position. Speaking confidently, but without confrontation, can make all the difference. Situation 2, you are abroad and your medications are lost, delayed, or withheld. This is where your digital preparation is key. Contact your doctor, review your translated medication list, and find the nearest clinic or pharmacy where they can help you in your language. It is not the ideal situation, but you can solve it if you have the necessary tools. Situation 3, your flight is cancelled and you are stranded for several days. That is why it is always advisable to carry an extra supply of your medications for between 5 and 7 days. A small detail that can avoid major complications. Your final checklist to pack medications like an expert. We've already gone over a lot, but now it's time to get everything in order with a handy checklist to make sure you're fully prepared before you head out. Your personal bag should have a clear, zippered bag where you keep all your essential medications. I included a printed list of your recipes, in clear, legible handwriting. Add a medical note briefly explaining your treatment. Save digital copies, photos or PDFs, on your cell phone or in the cloud. If your medications require cold, bring approved frozen gel packs. Have quick access to useful tools such as the My TSA app, your eSIM plan, and a digital copy of your medications in Google Docs or similar. And also remember what not to do. Do not put medications in the suitcase that you are going to ship. Do not mix them with toiletries. Do not carry products with CBD or marijuana without first checking the laws of the destination. Don't assume that everything will be allowed, research first if your medication is legal where you are traveling. Travel prepared, travel in peace. You are ready. You have all the essentials at hand, your documents organized and, most importantly, the right attitude. That's much more than traveling, that's traveling with confidence. In a world where flights are delayed, airports change and plans can fall apart at any moment, what you already have covered is the most important thing, your health and your peace of mind. So close your bag with intention, take a deep breath and go out to find that experience you've been waiting for. Because when you're at 30,000 feet, the best thing is not just to be prepared, but to feel in control. See you in the next one. Have a good trip.